I didn't know. I didn't know you. How about that, Greg Swan? Even here live at the fair, we've got your song.
That is the public debut beyond the broadcast. I mean, there are people stopping in the streets going, "What was that? We have to come over right now."
You hired a songwriter and a whole band to do the whole thing.
100% AI is coming to life.
It's very impressive. Greg Swan with us here at the State Fair. And Greg, tech is not what people often think about related to the fair.
It's not. And I have a confession. I didn't used to get the State Fair.
You didn't get it?
I didn't get this. We come here, we eat like deep fried food, and there's animals. And of course, I grew up in Iowa, working in the Iowa State Fair, but I didn't get it.
Right.
And I read Devil in the White City, the book about the Chicago World's Fair.
All time.
And all of a sudden, I was like, oh my gosh. This is the place where people try the future for the first time. And it goes hundreds of years back. People trying things like electricity, seeing television, airplanes at exhibitions like this.
We did try in Minnesota to get the World's Fair to come back here. But that book that you mentioned is an incredible book, written sort of parallel stories. There's like a murder mystery, and there's also this story about the fair and innovation, and you do even see this here at the Minnesota State Fair as well, right?
You do, and so there's a history of these fairs nationally. Things like the exposition in Philadelphia in 1876. New foods, exotic foods were tried for the first time. Do you know what they were?
No.
Bananas, Heinz ketchup, soda water. For the first time ever, people tried bananas and they said, "Oh, I think I might like to eat this." Isn't there an interesting parallel to what's going on in the International Bazaar down the street?
Yeah.
Try a new exotic food, and then you're like, "Oh, I think we'll just incorporate this."
Right. Yeah, you look at that this week. You had people trying sambusas, Somali sambusas. The people were trying sukar, which is a Somali spiced beef.
Perhaps falafel is a
falafel. Right.
Yeah, so
a lot of this is innovation for people and new experiences.
It is, and then the technology side. So in Chicago, we talked about the debut of the Ferris wheel is what we tend to think of.
Right.
We don't necessarily think about that was the first fair that was lit by electricity, so you could be there at night. Think about seeing your first exposure to electricity at a fair like this.
Right.
That's its legacy.
And what magic that must have been like, right, in 1893.
100%.
We're like, what is this witchcraft?
What is this thing? And then you fast forward about 50 years and you're seeing televisions for the first time. Maybe you couldn't afford it, maybe you heard of it before, but you're getting to see a television for the first time. And there's a direct parallel to what was happening here in Minnesota.
I didn't know also that some of the most famous Disney rides first debuted at a fair.
Yeah, so the World's Fair in New York City, where there's still a park, you can see some of the remnants of that, they did an all call to Walt Disney himself while he was building Disneyland and said, "We need you to build a couple different experiences." One of those was It's a Small World, which you can still go tour today. One of them was that automobile ride that pulls you through, and then that great moments with Mr. Lincoln, the robot Lincoln.
Right.
Fascinating to think about.
All right, Greg Swan is with us talking a little bit about the history of tech at the fair. At our fair, the only thing that I know that's fair related in Minnesota is the Tilt-A-Whirl. So the Tilt-A-Whirl was a county fair, right?
Yeah, invented in Faribault.
And that was the mid-1920s, and then became a national thing.
Absolutely.
But there are some other things that have happened in Minnesota State Fair milestones.
Well, and if you're here at the fair, you come in the next weekend or so, there's the Heritage Center that tells the story. Underneath the grandstands, there's pictures. You can go to the hangar and see the first manned airplane rides. Like manned aircraft happened here at the State Fair in Minnesota, including Wright airplanes. Imagine seeing that first moment here on display. And again, this is proving me wrong, like baby Greg being like, I don't get the fair.
Right.
You could see airplanes flying. And we're gonna get to like what you could see this year in the future.
Right.
But there's a history and a heritage of some of those things happening.
It's so cool. Greg Swan is with us here on Greg Swan Explains the Internet, senior partner at Finn Partners. and you love this stuff. You've been studying and writing about it for a long time. In your daily work, you use new technology and innovation to help companies tell their stories. But for all of us, we do, even today, I think a lot of the tech out here at the fair, we sort of take it for granted because it's so seamless into our world now.
We do. I mean, think about how you can buy tickets now to get into the fair on your phone. You get here via shuttle on your phone.
I sent my wife a digital ticket through a wallet thing on my phone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty cool.
And increasingly, and this year, because of services like Clover, you can pay at these booths. But you know what you have to do if you use your phone to pay?
Yeah.
You're going to have to tip.
You got to tip.
You're going to have to tip.
They ask for the tip, and almost all the vendors are charging a 3% credit card fee.
Correct.
Which I get.
So it's enabling that, but oh my gosh, that some of that technology was new, and even in the last couple of years, even this year, that might be folks' first time using a digital ticket to get in somewhere.
That is true. Yeah. You think about it, you're like, oh, it hasn't ever, no. No, everybody hasn't done this stuff.
So the most amazing technology that's here this year, I think, is the simulated weightlessness experience at the NASA experience, the Journey to Earth.
Oh, we haven't been out. Dan, I promised Dan I would take, Dan is like my child. I promised I would take him up to the NASA.
So there's about a 2-hour wait on Thursday, or I was up there earlier today, about a 1-hour wait. But so in the same vein that, let's see, more than 100 years ago, you could see a manned airplane here. You can now go experience what it would be like to be in the International Space Station at the Minnesota State Fair. That's pretty cool.
What do you think is the attraction? Do you think it's just there are so many people? What makes the fair the appropriate venue for this sort of thing?
I think a good example is virtual reality and the lines to try virtual reality at the Minnesota United Football Club booth in 2023.
Yeah.
Huge lines. You'd heard about VR before, but it was never able to I think I'll wait in line for 20 minutes. I can finally try that thing. And it's safe. And maybe I have a drink in my hand. I'm happy. I got the fried food going. I'm with my family. I'm going to try something I've never tried before.
It's so interesting. Greg Swan is with us. Greg Swan Explains the Internet. And you can watch this as well on YouTube. We're streaming there. So you put together a couple predictions if we go out a couple years, not that far, 2030. What type of technology you think, all right, here might be some things that we would try in the future?
Yeah, I always want to be careful predicting. Bill Gates says we tend to overestimate the change in the next 2 years, but underestimate the change in the next 10. So we want to be careful, but based on some of the things I'm seeing at Consumer Electronics Show, laundry, folding, and dishwashing home robots, those are things.
If you could get a robot to fold laundry, that is one of my least favorite things. I don't mind putting away the clean dishes, but laundry folding, especially underwear, I don't want to fold my wife's underwear. It just bothers me.
Think of the lines to get to see how those
the
go.
laundry folding robot. That's cool.
I think that could be a thing. I think that, think about those personal telephone booths like you see at some co-working spaces. Imagine over by the hot tub tent, next to that are some Zoom pods that look just like this room where you can do a call. I also think about what about not having to wait in line and you log into your watch and it tells you to come back.
That would be cool, especially at that Peachy's Donuts way up there where that line is around the world. And then the grandstand, I think there's opportunity too.
Yeah, I think we're already seeing AI coming into some of the lighting shows and some of that. I think we'll see more of that in music, and we might even see security drones and robot dogs and all sorts of things in the next couple of years.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. Do you enjoy the fair now?
Absolutely. So this is the place where you get to try the future. So this year people are trying electric cars. Yeah. Maybe they're checking out what an electric bike looks like. I was over at the 4-H building, and you can drive a combine and a simulator.
Yeah.
The technology blend is coming in. It's not against old-time proven technology. It's not. The animals are still important. The culture is still important. It's additive. It's helping us become more us.
It's pretty cool. It is, and you think about Minnesota, this is a place where we celebrate creativity when it comes to food. There have been all sorts of food innovations here. We have creativity in the ag world where you can go visit all of these farmers and see what they're up to. And a farm today is more of being a technology expert than necessarily knowing how to dig or how to raise an animal. So all of that comes together.
Yeah, and in the same spirit that we've had steam locomotives debuted here, steam technology, in fact, they crashed 2 locomotives within the grandstands as a display. This year, there's autonomous vehicles and moving towards the next iteration of how we can be efficient and profitable in our fields and in our homes.
Pretty fun. Good
Absolutely.
stuff. Greg Swan explains the internet. Thank you, Greg.
See you on the internet.
5:49, back to wrap up the show before we get you to